The Galaxy S24 FE, we've both had it for about a week now. It was a bit of a surprise, I'm going to say, because I didn't really hear about it or any leaks or rumors, and then suddenly, Samsung got in touch and said, hey, do you want a device before launch? I was like, yeah, sure. And mine was the first unboxing online. But it's an interesting device. The first thing we're going to talk about is the display, because my comments were full with, look at those bezels, right? So I think it's less the size of the bezels and more that they're not uniform, because you have a slightly larger bezel on the chin, right? And I think that's something that a lot of people have just not been happy about. Apart from that, it's a good display, right? It's AMOLED, it's bright, you've got 120 hertz. Yes, it's not LTPO, so it only goes down to 60 hertz and 120 hertz, full HD. But it's a good display apart from the bezels. Do those matter much to you, Anupam?
I mean, no, not really though. I think what was more interesting is the fact that this is 6.7 inches and it's not a Galaxy S24 to S24 FE. This is more like a plus to an FE.
Yeah. So it's a Galaxy S24 FE plus, S24 plus FE, right?
Yeah.
I agree. I think it was because we'll talk about the price a little bit later, but then it kind of becomes too close to the S24, and then it's like, I'll just rather buy the S24, right? Yeah. Whereas now it kind of gives it a bit more separation. Now, tested the cameras actually pretty good, right? And I think, with the new image signal processor, lots of detailed dynamic range, pretty good cameras overall. But the other thing that was quite controversial is the Exynos 2400, right? A lot of people were hoping for the 8 Gen 3, but that's not the case. It's the Exynos 2400. Okay, as a gaming man, I know you've done a gaming test on it. What would you say?
Exynos 2400 is fine. To me, I think if you're going to go Exynos, the price needs to be lower. I think that's also where that correlation comes into play. The Exynos will do a good job with all games. Genshin, it still doesn't run fully at 60, but it's better. It's much better than what Google is doing with Tensor. Let's just put it that way.
Okay.
But I also realized that, what most people were hoping for was, I believe the S22 FE, or maybe it was a 20, I can't remember which one, used the previous Snapdragon chipset, which would make most people happy. Where if we did like a Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, most people would be like, oh, okay, cool. Because this is the fan edition, this budget. So it would make sense there.
Let's just talk of the price, because $650, £650, not really budget, right? I think a lot of people were expecting around $550, right? So $650 starting price, because this is where it becomes quite tricky, because you've got the S24, right, which you could get now, because it's been out for a few months now, like almost 8-9 months now. You could get some good deals on it, so you might be able to actually get it for around that price, right? Devices like the OnePlus 12. So I was just looking at the price of the OnePlus 12 right now. It's $800 for the 256 version, right? So $100 more, but then you get the free watch with it, which is worth like $250, right? So then you're like kind of looking, okay, you've got these other devices here. The competition is pretty rough. Is it a good price point? I think that's the key thing there, right? Is that it should have been lower. I think $550. What do you reckon?
I believe $550, but I think one of the biggest things that Samsung is missing out is it's a fan edition phone, right?
Yeah.
What makes it feel like a fan edition phone from it, right? From packaging to what's inside, it just looks like a regular S series packaging, right? That's, I think, even the bigger problem, because if Samsung, like you said, like you just mentioned OnePlus has the watch in there, or if there was something that made it feel like, oh, Samsung really wants to, as a fan, to get this device, you can justify that $650 if you had, I don't know, maybe the watch from last year or something like that. Something to make fans go, yes, okay, cool, I'll get this.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I mean, one thing that I will say that I was pretty happy about is that there's no compromise on Galaxy AI. You've got all of the Galaxy AI features, from live call translate to circle to search to even drawing assist, right? Which I find that's the most probably fun AI feature, where you can just draw things and change your hairstyle, whatever you want to do. You've got all of that there on the FE, so you're not missing out on that. However, when it comes to the hardware and everything, I think it's a tricky place, because, if you look at some deals on the S24 Plus even, right, you're getting it for around, the $800 mark. You'll be able to pick it up for, and it's just like, okay, now 256 version, you compare it to, you know, the 256 version of the S24 FE, you're like, it's $100 difference. Like, why not just go for the real deal? Like, instead of just, you know, if it was $200, then fair enough. It makes it a little bit more appealing. But that's what I would say. Battery life, yeah, it's improved. You've got 4,700 milliamp hour battery now. You know, it's got all of the 25 watts charging. Not crazy, not amazing, but you know, not bad. But I don't know. It's a difficult one, and you know, I think that reflects that with the audience. I agree with you. There's not really much that makes it the fan edition that we would have hoped.
Yeah, I think Samsung needs to really look at what they're doing there with the fan edition devices, because you know there's no need for it at this point, unless it fulfills a need where it's got some cool colors, packaging, extras, even if it's fan points. You know, like, I get you're making a fan edition, but there's nothing that screams fan when it's a black box and there's nothing else inside there.
It's more of a Samsung Galaxy S24 Plus Lite, right?
Yes.
That's more what it is, right? So it's just like, hey, this is like pretty much like the S24 Plus, but you know, we're gonna not give you the same screen. We're gonna give you slightly thicker bezels. You know, we're not gonna give you as much of a big battery, et cetera, right? So then they kind of like cut a few things down here. You're not gonna get a Snapdragon version. It's just gonna be Exynos across the board and stuff like that. But it's just like, yeah, okay, that's fine. You want to do that, but I think in the space where you've got, you know, $400-500 devices with uniform bezels, having that just kind of throws people off straight away, because a lot of people were saying in the comments, this looks like an A series device. Is this the A50 something? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so that's the thing. That's what I found a lot of. So I think, you know, maybe some people will still like it. Maybe you're going to get a good deal on it. You know, they've got some decent pre-order deals. Not amazing, I would say. You're getting like 50% off the buds and things like that. But nothing that really stands out, I would say.
I agree. I absolutely agree. I think they need to rethink what they want to do with it. And also, to me, the way it was launched and how we just kind of got that last minute, like, hey,
It's like, hey,
tells us that they need to make some changes.
Yeah, I definitely think so.